that tutorial guy. Thanks for joining me. In this first video, we're going to be going over some very basic tools for Photoshop CS5. Alright, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start a new file by going up to the top left of the screen, if you're on a Mac, next to Photoshop, and clicking New. And what we're going to do there is we're just going to go to default Photoshop size, which is a width of 16.2 and a height of 11.99 with a resolution of 28.34. Our color mode, we're going to stay in RGB, an 8-bit color. And our background content, we're just going to save as white. You don't have to name it or anything like that, but I'm going to. Just going to call it test. And we're not really testing anything, but just go ahead and click OK. And now we have a nice little document. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to get a paintbrush, make a large one. And by the way, this tool right here is your paintbrush tool. We're just going to crank it up to about 300. Okay, perfect. I'll put that in the middle of the screen. Okay, so I'm going to show you some basic tools, and that's going to happen here in this top portion. These top six these 6 icons right here are tools. So what we're going to start with is a selection tool. Right now it's set to, if you right click it, you'll see a menu of different marquee tools, which is it's called the marquee tool as well. And the first one's rectangular marquee tool. The second one's elliptical marquee tool, which is what we're on right now. You can tell that by that little black dot right there. Single row marquee tool and single column marquee tool. Now these bottom two I haven't found a lot of use for. That's not to say you won't find any use for them, but we're not going to really get into those two right now. What we're going to start with is the rectangular marquee tool. All you have to do is click it, and that icon changes to a rectangular marquee rather than an elliptical. So go to your picture and just drag out a square or whatever you want to draw. Now you might be thinking, what am I going to do with that? It didn't do anything. It's just, it selected the background. But what you can do is go up here back to our top level icons and go to this arrow that has the I guess we'll call it the plus sign in it. Click on that and you can go back to your picture. You can grab it and move it around. Pretty cool. And that's how all the marquee tools work. They just have different shapes. I want to show you something really quick because I just noticed it. What we have down here, if you go all the way down to the bottom of your tool palette here, you'll see, for you, if you're using Photoshop CS5 or any other Photoshops, you should see these 2 color swatches, one being black, one should be white. Mine's purple. So what you can do there is, if you have this problem, if you used Photoshop before and it remembered your color settings or anything like that, you can go to this little black and white icon right here and click it, and it will turn everything back to default. That way you have your white background. Now see, mine's not going to be white now because I did my selection and everything like that before changing the colors. Okay. Now we have this selection here. We moved it around. We know what it does, but we don't like the results. So what do we do? Well, you could always draw out a new marquee. Or if you don't want to draw out a new marquee and you want to do it faster, you want a faster way of doing things, you just come over to the keyboard and hit Command D. And that gets rid of your selection. Alright. Now the next one we're going to be using is the polygonal lasso tool. And to start with, the first one, right now we're on polygonal lasso tool, but we're going to go up to this top lasso tool first. It's just a plain generic lasso tool. Nothing special about it. And this is what it does. It's kind of like the same thing as the selection tool, but you draw your own shape. And you see how this works out? And you finish it off, and it'll make that selection, and that's the shape you made. So if you have detailed work and small little things you need to pull out, or an odd shape thing that you need to pull out, or even if you want to make an odd shape in something that already exists, well, there you go. And of course, you can come up here to your move tool, and you can move that around, and now I've got a white background again, and we have that weird shape in the center of it. Okay, so now we're going to hit Command D to deselect that. But now we have a problem. We have the piece that we wanted to get rid of, we have it just hanging out there on the right, and it really doesn't look right. So what do we do there? Well, we can do a couple of different things. What we can do first of all is we can go up to Edit, go to Undo Deselect, Edit, step backwards, and then I'll put it back in the right spot. But that's a really slow way of doing things. And you kind of want to get in the habit of being quick about the things you do. Well, not really quick, but all these drop-down menus and everything like that, they can be really distractive. So we have some shortcut keys that you can use. For instance, the first one we did was undo selection, which is Command Z. And that's on a Mac, that's Command Z. And if you want to step backward more than one step, you can hit Command Option Z. And that's what I'm doing right now, hitting Control Option Z. Now we got rid of the first selection we made, hit it again. Now we got a rectangular selection back, and again, and again, again, and again. Now we're back to the beginning of it. Alright, now we're going back to the lasso tool. Right click on that. Now go to polygonal lasso tool. See, this is a pretty interesting